On August 14th, the Brashear Tiger was in front of the school to welcome all of the new and returning students to BHS. The day began with an assembly where Principal Grissom welcomed our 152 students back and explained school rules and our change to a 4-day week. New teachers Nathan Miller, Jessica Irwin, and Caitlin Guffey were introduced before classes held individual meetings to select class officers. Also, congratulations to Tana Garlock and Alexa Higgins, new Student Council President and Vice President. Last Friday, the Brashear Boosters held their annual Fall Barbecue at the park downtown. In addition to serving the barbecue meal, there were games and activities and a live music performance by One Horse Town. Each year, the Boosters do various activities to support the school. On Wednesday, BHS hosted the first blood drive of the year at the Keller Building. We would like to thank everyone who volunteered to help and the 25 donors who showed up. 19 units were collected. These blood drives help provide a scholarship to one of our graduating seniors each year. The softball and baseball teams have been practicing come rain or shine, getting ready for our 2019 season. This year, the softball team has 10 members and there are 16 players out for baseball. The first games of the year will be played tonight at Green City.
On Wednesday night, the Brashear Elementary welcomed parents to an open house to demonstrate the technology that students use at school. NHS members provided a carnival for the kids while their parents visited the classroom. The Lady Tigers softball team traveled to Green City Friday for their season opener. Brashear spotted the Gophers 3 runs in the first and 3 in the second to trail 6-1. Brashear tied the game at 6-6 with a 5-run fourth, but Green City scored 4 in the fifth on their way to a 10-8 win. Hannah Grissom and Adelie Hagan collected 2 hits each for Brashear, with Sierra Snyder, Hannah Garlock, and Alexa Higgins also having hits. Adelie Hagan got the start on the mound, striking out 5. The Tiger baseball squad kicked off their season at Green City Friday. The Tigers stuck first with a run in the first, but surrendered the lead when Green City scored 3 runs in the third. Brashear came back with 4 in the fifth and 3 in the seventh to claim an 8-4 win. Justin Leadham had a single and a double for Brashear, with Brandon Jochimson and Garrett Hausman each having 2 hits. John Gerhold doubled, and Quinn Allen, Brett Place, Austin Peterson, and Jay Snelling also had hits. Brett Place got the start going 5 innings and striking out 10. Brandon Jochimson pitched 3 innings of relief, striking out 4.
On Friday, each class from kindergarten through 12th grade was called from class for their annual hearing screenings. The Truman State University student nurses were on hand to administer the screenings.
The Lady Tigers hosted North Shelby Thursday night for softball. It proved to be a tough night for Brashear as North Shelby scored 6 runs in the second inning to take the lead. They wouldn't surrender on their way to a 12-1 win in 5 innings. Brashear's lone run came in the bottom of the second as Alexa Higgins exhibited some heads-up base running and stole home. Tana Garlock had 2 hits for Brashear, with Kinley White, Aubrey Blything, Alexa Higgins, and Callie Alteid also having hits. Adley Hagan took the loss, striking out 6. Brashear won the JV game by a score of 3-1.
The Brashear softball team was on the road at Lane County Friday night. There was no doubt that it would be a high-scoring game after Brashear took a 6-5 lead after 2 innings. Things really got crazy in the third as Brashear pushed across 11 runs on their way to a 20-8 5-inning win. Alexa Higgins almost hit for the single as she homered in the first, then followed up with a triple and a pair of singles. Hannah Grissom had a single and 2 doubles. Adley Hagan had a single, 2 doubles, and a triple. Tana Garlock and Aubrey Blything had 2 hits each, and Kinley White also had a hit. Adley Hagan got the win, striking out 6. The Tigers baseball team was also at Lane County Friday. Brashear and Lane County traded runs in the first, but it was a pitcher's duel with no more scoring until the 5th inning when Brashear scored twice and Lane County answered with a run. Brashear added 1 more run in the 6th and held on for a 4-2 win. Jay Snelling had a pair of doubles, Quinn Allen had a single and a double, Brett Place and Garrett Hausman had a pair of hits each, and Brandon Jockinson had a hit for Brashear. Brett Place got the win with a 3-hitter going 6 innings and striking out 11, with Brandon Jockinson pitching 1 inning of a no-hit relief and striking out 2. The Brashear Lady Tigers softball team visited Madison Tuesday, where they wasted no time, putting up 7 runs in the first and 12 in the second on their way to a 21-1 3-inning victory. Alexa Higgins had 3 doubles for Brashear, Kinley White had a double and 2 singles, Tana Garlock had 2 singles, Aubrey Blything doubled, Hannah Grissom and Adley Hagan each had a pair of singles, and Callie Alteid had a double. Adley Hagan picked up the win, surrendering 1 hit and striking out 3.
The Tiger baseball team scored single runs in the first and second and a pair of runs in the third to take a 4-1 lead over Madison on Tuesday. The big breakthrough came in the fourth as Brashear scored 10 runs to secure a 5-inning 14-1 win. Brandon Jockinson had 2 homers and a single, driving in 9 runs. Quinn Allen also homered. Garrett Hausman had tripled. Jay Snelling had a pair of singles. John Gerhold doubled, and Brett Place and Austin Peterson also had hits. Garrett Hausman got the start, going the distance and striking out 6.
On Tuesday, members of the Brashear chapter of Future Business Leaders of America were up early to board buses for a college visit day to Northwest Missouri State University in Maryville. The group got to hear from admissions counselors from the university, as well as take a walking campus tour before returning home. Wednesday was picture day at BHS. Along with individual pictures of each student, group photos were taken of the baseball and softball teams and other groups. The Lady Tigers hosted Meadville Thursday in what proved to be a very suspenseful game. After spotting Meadville an 8-0 lead in the top of the first, Brashear got 4 of those back on an Alexa Higgins grand slam over the left field fence. Brashear battled back, tying the game at 10-all after 4 innings and taking a 1-run lead after 5. The suspense wasn't over as Meadville tied the game in the top of the 7th, but Brashear pushed across the winning run in the bottom of the inning for a 14-13 win. Alexa Higgins had a home run and a triple. Ava Hagan had 2 doubles. Hannah Grissom had 2 singles and a double. Kinley White had a single and a double, and Tana Garlock, Aubrey Blything, and Adley Hagan also had hits. Hadley Hagen got the win in the circle.
The Tigers got off to a strong start Thursday in their baseball game with Meadville. Brandon Jochimson blasted a 3-run homer in the first to give Brashear a lead. They wouldn't surrender. After adding another run in the third, the Tigers scored 14 in the fourth, including John Gerhold's 3-run walk-off homer to seal the win. Meadville got their 2 runs on the scoreboard in the top of the fourth. Quinn Allen had a home run and a double. Brandon Jochimson had a home run, 2 singles. John Gerhold had a home run and a double. Brett Place and Austin Peterson each had a single and a double. And Wyatt Reeds, Jay Snelling, and Garrett Helson each had hits. Brett Place went the distance on the mound, scattering 2 hits and striking out 7. The Lady Tigers softball team were on the road Saturday for the Milan tournament. Brashear's first opponent was undefeated Northern. Northern jumped out to a quick 9-0 lead after 2 innings, while holding Brashear to 2 third innings runs in a 13-2 victory. Alexa Higgins had 2 hits with Sierra Snyder, Tina Garlock, Ava Hagen, Hannah Grissom, and Natalie Hagen also having hits. Natalie Hagen and Callie Alhide pitched for Brashear. In the second game of the day, Brashear rolled over Novinger 14-3. The Tigers posted 9 runs in the first inning and never looked back. Tana Garlock and Alexa Higgins each had 3 hits. Ava Hagen had 2 hits. Emily White, Hannah Grissom, and Natalie Hagen also had hits. Natalie Hagen and Callie Alhide pitched for Brashear. Brashear faced Green City in the third-place game. Green City took a 5-1 lead after 2 innings, but Brashear tied the game at 5 in the third. Green City scored 6 more runs in the fourth to claim an 11-8 win. In a time-limit-shortened game, Alexa Higgins homered, tripled, and doubled for Brashear. Tana Garlock and Hannah Grissom had 2 hits each. Sierra Snyder and Callie also had hits. Natalie Hagen went the distance on the mound. The Lady Tigers hosted Novinger Tuesday for a conference softball game. Brashear got off to a quick start, scoring 5 in the first, 3 in the second, and 7 in the third to claim a 15-0 win. 7 Brashear players had hits. Natalie Hagen picked up the win on the mound. The Tigers also faced Novinger Tuesday night in conference action. Novinger jumped out to an early 3-0 lead after 1 inning. Brashear got one of those back in third inning. Novinger scored another run in the fifth, but Brashear added 3 more to tie the score at 4. Novinger retook the lead with a run in the sixth, but Brashear won the game with a 2-run walk-off hit in the seventh. Brett Place had 3 hits, including the game winner. Justin Leadham and Garrett Houser had 2 each, and Wyatt Reeves, Brandon Jochimson, Jay Snelling, and Austin Peterson also having hits. Brandon Jochimson got the start, striking out 7, while Brett Place struck out 3 in relief. Congratulations to Taylor Garlock, who was named Kirksville's Optimist Student of the Month. Brashear High School hosted a group of educators from the Northeast Missouri area Monday and Tuesday for 7 Habits training. With this training for our newer teachers, all faculty at Brashear High School have now received 7 Habits training. The Brashear softball team hosted La Plata Friday. La Plata got a run in the first, the 2 in the third, 2 in the fifth, and 2 in the seventh to claim a 7-3 victory. Brashear's runs came in the 5th and 6th. Callie Althide had a pair of hits for Brashear. Ava Hagen tripled, Sierra Snyder, Hannah Grissom, and Adelie Hagen also had hits. Adelie Hagen got the start on the mound. The Tigers hosted La Plata Friday for baseball. Brashear took an early 1-0 lead after 1 inning, but La Plata exploded for 6 runs in the second on their way to a 7-1 win. Quinn Allen and Brandon Jockinson both doubled for Brashear, with Justin Leadham, Jay Snelling, John Gerhold, and Austin Peterson also having hits. Brett Place got the start with Garrett Houseman pitching 4 innings of relief. The Brashear Lady Tigers softball team took to the road Tuesday for a game at Atlanta. Brashear jumped on the scoreboard with a pair of runs in the top of the first, but Atlanta answered with 2 runs of their own, plus a run in the second to lead 3-2. The real damage was done in the third as Atlanta scored 6 runs to take a 12-2 victory. Alexa Higgins, Ava Hagen, Hannah Grissom, and Adelie Hagen all had hits. Adelie Hagen got to start for Brashear. The Tigers played at Atlanta Tuesday. Brashear shut down Atlanta in every inning except the 4-run second. Meanwhile, Atlanta made it tough for the Tigers to get on the scoreboard also. Brashear got a single run in the third, then pushed across 2 more in the seventh, but fell short of a comeback win by a score of 4-3. Jay Snelling had 3 hits for Brashear, Brandon Jockinson had 2, Garrett Houseman had single and a double, and Quinn Allen single. Brett Place got the start with Garrett Houseman pitching in relief. The Lady Tigers wasted no time getting a run on the scoreboard in the top of the first at Milan Monday. Milan bounced back with a pair of runs in the bottom of the frame to take a lead they wouldn't give up in a 7-4 win. Milan scored in every inning except the 4th, but Brashear made things exciting with a run in the 5th and 2 in the 7th. Hannah Grissom, Kenna Garlock, Alexa Higgins, and Sierra Snyder each had 2 hits for Brashear, with Kinley White and Callie Althide also having hits. Adelie Hagen got the start for Brashear. Both BMC and Brashear got on the scoreboard early on Tuesday night as BMC put up 2 runs and Brashear answered with 4 in the first inning. BMC scored 2 in the third, 3 in the fourth to take a 7-6 lead, but Brashear rallied for 5 in the fifth and 5 in the sixth to claim a 16-7 victory. Alexa Higgins had 3 hits, including a home run for Brashear, with Hannah Grissom and Kinley White also having 3 hits. Sierra Snyder and Ava Higgins had 2 hits each, and Tana Garlock, Adelie Hagen, and Callie Althide also had hits. Adelie Hagen got the win, striking out 8.
After the softball game, Brashear's senior softball players, Adelie Hagen, Avery Acton, Alexa Higgins, Tana Garlock, Emily Mason, and Aubrey Blything were honored at senior night ceremonies.
The Tigers hosted BMC Tuesday and wasted no time getting on the scoreboard, with 1 run in the first, 7 in the second, 3 in the third. Brashear's pitching and defense held BMC scoreless in the 5-inning 11-0 win. John Gerhold homered, and Brandon Jochimson had 3 hits for Brashear. Quinn Allen, Justin Leadham, Brett Place, Jay Snelling, and Austin Peterson also had hits. Brandon Jochimson threw 4 innings of 2-hit ball, striking out 7. Jay Snelling followed with 1 inning of no-hit relief.
Last Saturday was a busy day at Love Green Motors in Kirksville. Along with Kirksville High, Brashear School is participating in Drive for Your School. Schools can earn money by encouraging people to come test drive new Ford vehicles. Student volunteers help with the process of welcoming the drivers and getting them signed up for the test drive. The Lady Tigers were on the road Friday for their final conference game at Bevere. Brashear got on the scoreboard with 3 runs in the first and led 3-2 after 1 inning. Bevere had a big inning in the third with 6 runs, but Brashear answered with 9 runs in the fourth on their way to a 23-12 victory. Tana Garlock had 6 hits for Brashear. Alexa Higgins and Callie Altide had 4 each. Kinley White, Ava Hagan, and Hannah Grissom had 3 hits each. Sierra Snyder had 2 hits, and Adley Hagan had a hit. Adley Hagan got the win, striking out 14. In Friday night's baseball game at Bevere, the Tigers fell behind after Bevere scored 4 runs in the first 2 innings. The Tigers put up a run in the fourth, but that was all of the scoring as Brashear fell by a score of 4-1. Wyatt Reeves, Brandon Jochimson, Jay Snelling, and Austin Peterson had hits for Brashear. Brett Place got the start, striking out 8. On Tuesday, Brashear hosted the Grundy County baseball team. The Tigers got on the scoreboard with a run in the first, then added 5 in the second and 5 more in the third on their way to a 15-7 win. Quinn Allen and Brandon Jochimson homered for Brashear, with Brett Place having 3 hits. Jochimson had 3 hits also, with Allen, Jay Snelling, and Austin Peterson having 2 hits each. Wyatt Reeves, Lane Stutzman, Austin Ray, and John Gerhold also had hits. Brandon Jochimson got the start, striking out 7. Austin Peterson and Jay Snelling pitched in relief, each striking out 3. Brashear played in the Laplatus softball tournament Saturday. They started their day with a game with New Franklin. Brashear took a 4-1 lead after 1 inning and shut down New Franklin the rest of the way for a 5-1 win. Alexa Higgins blasted 2 home runs, driving in 4. Sierra Snyder had 2 hits, with Tana Garlock, Ava Hagan, Hannah Grissom, and Adley Hagan also having hits. Adley Hagan got the win on the mound. In the second game of the day, a tough Montgomery County team scored 7 times in the first 2 innings on their way to an 11-2 win over the Tigers. Callie Altide had 2 hits, with Sierra Snyder, Alexa Higgins, and Hannah Grissom also having hits. Callie Altide got the start for Brashear, with Adley Hagan pitching in relief. The Tigers faced North Shelby in the third game. Brashear fell behind 4-2 after 1 inning, but scored 5 in the third and 4 in the fourth and hung on for an 11-10 win. Alexa Higgins homered and had 3 hits. Hannah Grissom also had 3 hits. Tana Garlock, Kinley White, and Callie Altide had 2 hits each, and Adley Hagan also had a hit. Adley Hagan got the start as the Tigers took third place trophy.
Last Saturday, the Brashear Marching Band performed in the CMU Band Day Parade at Fayette. The band will be marching at the Southern Boone Parade this Saturday. On Thursday, the students and faculty of BHS participated in the statewide earthquake drill. This is one of several emergency drills that are conducted throughout the year. On Monday, a group of 20 students traveled to Columbia for a day of fun at Midway Fun'em Golf. The students had earned the trip as an incentive on their MAP and EOC tests. Congratulations to Alexa Higgins, Hannah Grissom, Tana Garlock, Brett Place, Brandon Jochimson, and Garrett Hausman, who were named to the Tri-County All-Conference baseball and softball teams. Home runs by Alexa Higgins and Hannah Grissom, along with triples by Kinley White and Tana Garlock, propelled Brashear to a 15-13 win in their first round district game with Green City. Brashear took a quick 6-0 lead in the top of the first, but Green City battled back to within 1 run twice during the game. Brashear each scored 4 runs in the final inning to make for an exciting finish. Alexa Higgins had a home run and a double. Hannah Grissom had a home run, a triple, and a double. Kinley White had 2 triples, Tana Garlock had a triple, Kelly Althide had a double and 2 singles, and Ava Hagen also had a hit. Adelaide Hagen got the win, striking out 5. Congratulations to the Brashear Tiger Marching Band. Last Saturday, they took first place in the Southern Boone Classic Parade. After downing Green City in the opening round of district softball, Brashear faced Atlanta in the semifinals. Atlanta quickly went to work with their bats, scoring 3 in the first and 6 in the second, to effectively put the game out of reach. Brashear managed to push across a run in the second as Atlanta went on to a 13-1 win. Brashear finished the season with an 11-9 varsity record. The Brashear Lady Tiger basketball team kicked off their season at Green City on Friday. Brashear managed to build a 14-9 lead at halftime, but Green City managed to close the gap to 20-17 after 3 quarters. Brashear then outscored Green City 5-2 in the final quarter to claim a 25-19 win. Alexa Bormeyer scored 10 points, Lacey Fisher scored 10, Cassie Althide scored 3, and Paige Stutzman scored 2. The Brashear Junior High boys kicked off their season at Green City Friday. Green City quickly took a 21-2 lead after 1 quarter, but Brashear fought back to close the gap to 31-14 by halftime. Green City put the game away with a big third quarter, and Brashear fell by a final score of 61-32. Lucas Keller had 9 points, Ethan Mason had 7, Carson Irwin had 6, and Dayton White scored 5, Landon Fisher scored 2, Nancy Noe scored 2, and Jack Reeves scored 1. After Brashear scored the first basket Tuesday, the Atlanta girls quickly ran up a 16-9 lead at halftime. The Lady Tigers started to show some signs of life late in the third, and a pair of Lacey Fisher free throws in the last minute left the game tied 27, all at the end of regulation. Atlanta managed 3 points to Brashear's 2 in overtime and won by a score of 30-29. Lacey Fisher scored 10 points, Aubrey Bormeyer scored 9, Alexa Bormeyer scored 5, Paige Stutzman scored 3, and Cassie Althide scored 2. The Brashear Junior High boys faced a tough Atlanta team Tuesday. Lance took a 14-9 lead in the first quarter and surged ahead to 25-11 at halftime. The Tigers had a 15-point fourth quarter, but it wasn't enough. Brashear fell by a score of 51. Carson Irwin scored 10 points, Ethan Mason 6, Landon Fisher 6, Alex Houghton 4, John Higgins 2, Landy No 2, Jack Reeves 2, Lucas Keller 2.
It has been a crazy weather week with snow on Halloween forcing cancellation of classes Thursday. The makeup day will be Monday, December 16th. Congratulations to John Higgins, who was recently named Kirksville Optimist Student of the Month. Way to go, John. On Wednesday, members of the Brashear chapter of the Future Business Leaders of America were at school for their annual murder mystery and fun night. Costumes, role play, and solving the murder kept everyone well entertained. The Lady Tigers jumped out to an 8-0 first quarter lead and never looked back in their game with Buckland-Macon County Thursday night. Brashear held Buckland-Macon County scoreless through the entire first half and ended up with a 27-2 win. Cassidy Alltide and Alexa Borgmeyer and Lacey Fisher each had 6 points for Brashear. Aubrey Borgmeyer had 4, Taylor Garlock and Paige Stutzman had 2 each, and Emma Harsel scored 1 point. The Brashear Junior High boys outgunned Buckland-Macon County in a Thursday night home game. The Tigers took the lead early and led 24-10 by halftime. Brashear kept up the pace in the second half and won 47-21. Ethan Mason scored 12 points for Brashear, Carson Irwin had 8, Landon Fisher scored 7, Jack Reeves and Avery Zentz scored 6 each, Lucas Keller had 5, Clancy No had 2, and Alex Houghton had 1 point. In the B game, Brashear jumped out to a quick lead as they claimed a 23-8 win in a two-quarter contest. Avery Zentz scored 9 points, Dayton White had 7, John Higgins had 3, Alex Houghton had 2, and Aiden Shahan also had 2 points. In Friday night's game, the Brashear and Green City girls battled their way to a 9-9 tie after one quarter, and only 1 point was scored in the second quarter, giving Green City a 10-9 halftime lead. Brashear shot well in the third, taking a 21-12 lead and hung on for a 25-21 win. Cassidy Alltide had 11 points, Aubrey Borgmeyer had 7, Lacey Fisher had 5, and Alexa Borgmeyer had 2 points. The Brashear Junior High boys came out strong against a tough Green City squad and took a 15-13 lead after the first quarter. The Tigers weren't able to keep up with Green City in the second quarter, and Green City led 31-21 at halftime. Green City continued to have the upper hand in the second half and won by a score of 58-38. Landon Fisher scored 8 points for Brashear, Jack Reeves, Lucas Keller, and Avery Zentz had 6 points each, Alex Houghton had 4, Carson Irwin and Dayton White had 3 points each, and Ethan Mason scored 2 points. The Brashear and La Plata Junior High girls seemed evenly matched Monday, with Brashear taking a 12-10 lead into halftime. La Plata proved to be too much for the Lady Tigers in the second half as they pulled ahead for a 30-20 lead in the third quarter and claimed a 40-27 victory. Cassidy Alltide had 9 points, Lacey Fisher had 7, Alexa Borgmeyer had 6, Paige Stutzman had 4, and Aubrey Borgmeyer scored 1 point. The Brashear Junior High boys took the early lead in a tough battle with La Plata Monday. The Tigers were up 18-12 at halftime, but La Plata started chipping away at Brashear's lead in the second half and finally surged ahead of Brashear in the final 2 minutes to claim a 28-25 win. Ethan Mason scored 6 points, Carson Irwin had 5, Jack Reeves and Lucas Keller had 4 points each, and Dayton White and Landon Fisher also had 3 points each. The junior high Lady Tigers led wire-to-wire Tuesday night in their 26-6 win over Bevere. After taking a 10-4 lead at halftime, Brashear began to roll in the second half for the 20-point win. Cassidy Altide led Brashear scorers with 12 points. The Tigers trailed briefly 6-5 in the early going on Tuesday, but as the game went on, Brashear took command and led 15-9 at halftime. The Tigers continued their winning ways in the second half and eventually won by a score of 45-20. Lucas Keller scored 12 points for Brashear, Avery Zentz had 9, Ethan Mason had 6, John Higgins and Dayton White had 5 each, Jack Reeves and Carson Irwin had 3 each, and Landon Fisher had 2 points.
The Brashear school and community observed the Halloween season last Friday. In the afternoon, a Halloween costume party was held for students and faculty to show off their costumes. Friday evening, a community trunk-or-treat was held in the elementary gym to provide safe trick-or-treating. Along with that, the junior class put on a soup supper as a class fundraiser. On Saturday, the high school gym was filled with booths and vendors for our annual fall craft show. Other activities that day included a soup supper held on site. The fire bells sounded Wednesday as the Brashear School conducted a fire drill. This drill is one of our series of drills held throughout the year to help ensure the safety of our students should we have an actual emergency. The Brashear Junior High girls took on Novinger Monday. Novinger led 5-4 after one quarter, but Brashear went out 14-11 at halftime and withstood Novinger rallies in the second half to claim a 25-18 win on the road. Arby Borgmeyer had 10 points, Cassie Altide had 4, Lacey Fisher had 4, Emma Harcel had 4, Paige Schussman had 2, Taylor Garlock had 1. In the Brashear Junior High boys vs. Novinger game, the Tigers played a competitive first quarter as the score was tied 8-8. Things went downhill in the second, and Novinger jumped out to 23-10 halftime. The Tigers continued to struggle in the second half, and Novinger won 45-28. Avery Zentz had 10 points, Lucas Keller had 5 points, Carson Irwin had 3 points, and Fisher had 3 points. Clancy Noah had 2. Ethan Mason had 2, Dayton White scored 2 points, Alex Houghton scored 1 point. Last Friday, Brashear High School hosted area veterans for a Veterans Day assembly. Students told of the history of U.S. wars and performed patriotic songs in tribute to the vets. The gym was also decorated with a wall of posters honoring area veterans. 8 veterans spoke to the crowd of over 60 members of the public who had gathered. A reception was held afterwards. Brashear's Cassidy Althide came out with a hot hand Thursday, scoring 9 points in the first quarter to give the Lady Tigers a 9-6 first quarter lead over Lynn County. During the second quarter, it was Lynn County's turn to have the hot shooters, and they surged ahead for a 16-12 lead. During the second half, Brashear stayed close but couldn't close the gap and fell by a score of 27-23. Cassidy Althide had 11 points. Lacey Fisher scored 4. Arby Borgmeyer scored 3. Lana Van Sickle scored 2. Paige Schutzman scored 2. And Taylor Garlock scored 1 point. The Brashear Junior High Tigers hosted Lynn County Thursday. Brashear took a 9-7 lead after one quarter and were up 19-14 at halftime. It was anybody's game in the second half as there were several lead changes, but Brashear finally took the lead for good and won 40-36. Lucas Keller scored 19 points. Jack Reeves scored 12. Carson Aaron scored 7. Ethan Mason scored 2 points. The Brashear Junior High Lady Tigers hosted Meadville Friday. Tough defense prevailed in the first quarter with Meadville holding a 3-2 lead. Meadville then exploded for 17 points in the second as Brashear's offense continued to struggle, giving Meadville a 20-2 halftime lead. Brashear managed to score 3 in the third and 5 in the fourth, falling short and losing by a score of 28-10. Cassidy Althide scored 5 points, Bobby Borgmeyer scored 3, and Lacey Fisher scored 2 points. Brashear hosted Meadville Friday in junior high boys action. The game was close in the first quarter with Meadville holding a 7-6 lead. Meadville broke the game open in the second quarter and led 22-11 by halftime. Brashear never managed to close the gap in the second half and fell by a score of 42-26. Jack Reeves scored 8 points, Carson Irvin scored 8 as well, Lucas Keller scored 4, Landon Fisher scored 3, Alex Houghton scored 2, Ethan Mason scored 1 point. The Brashear Junior High boys faced Green City in the first round of the Atlanta tournament Tuesday. Green City jumped out to an early lead, but Brashear was able to close within 1 point in the second quarter and trailed 26-22 at halftime. Brashear stayed close until late in the third, but Green City pulled away late for a 55-37 win. Ethan Mason scored 12 points, Jack Reeves had 6, Landy Fisher had 6, Lucas Keller had 5, Alex Houghton had 3, Dayton White had 3, and Carson Aaron scored 2 points. The Brashear Junior High girls played Lynn County in the first round of the Atlanta tournament Wednesday. It was a tough defensive battle early on, with Brashear leading 4-2 after one quarter and Lynn County up 7-6 at halftime. Although both teams kept up in the defense pressure in the second half, scoring picked up as Lynn County pulled away for a 29-20 win. Aubrey Borgmeyer scored 12 points, Paige Schutzman scored 6, and Lacey Fisher scored 2. Congratulations to Cassidy Althide. Cassidy was recently named Kirksville's Optimistic Student of the Month. Brashear High School sponsored their second blood drive of the year Wednesday at the Keller Building in downtown Brashear. 23 units were collected. We would like to thank everyone who made it a success. On Thursday, members of the Brashear High School Student Council traveled to Kirksville, where they helped serve a Thanksgiving dinner. In addition to the almost 300 meals served for Chariton Valley, they also delivered meals to the Sheriff's Department, Police Department, Fire Department, and ambulance district. The Brashear Junior High Lady Tigers faced BMC in the consolation semifinals of the Atlanta tournament Friday. Brashear took the lead early, leading 11-7 at halftime, but an 11-point third quarter put the game away for good, as Brashear won 26-15. Lana Vansicle had 10 points, Cassie Althide scored 5, Lacey Fisher scored 5, Aubrey Borgmeyer scored 5, and Emma Hartzell scored 1. Brashear faced Bevere in the Atlanta Junior High Tournament Boys Consolidated Semifinals Thursday. A dominant first half provided Brashear with a 14-5 lead. Both teams found the basket more in the second half, but Brashear held on for a 40-25 lead. Jack Reeves scored 10 points, Avery Zent scored 10, Lucas Keller scored 8, Landon Fisher scored 6, Ethan Mason scored 4, and Carson Irwin scored 2. The Brashear Junior High girls faced Green City in the consolation game of the Atlanta tournament Saturday. Green City looked to run away with the game as they jumped out to a 10-2 first quarter lead. Brashear came storming back and were up 16-11 at halftime and 25-18 after 3 quarters. The Lady Tigers fell flat in the fourth and Green City pulled ahead for a 29-27 win. Lacey Fisher scored 13 points, Taylor Garlock scored 4, Lana Van Sicker scored 4, Paige Schussman scored 4, and Aubrey Borgmeyer scored 2. The Brashear Junior High boys took on the plate in the Atlanta tournament consolation game Saturday. The Tigers got off to a 15-6 start and were up 20-11 at halftime. Plata pulled within 30-26 after 3 quarters, but Brashear finished strong for the 45-37 win in the consolation trophy. Ethan Mason scored 17 points, Lucas Keller scored 9, Carson Irwin scored 4, Avery Zent scored 4, Landon Fisher scored 3, John Higgins scored 3, Jack Reeves scored 3, and Dayton White scored 2 points. The varsity basketball teams were in action Saturday at the Putnam County Jamboree. The Jamboree format brings 4 teams together and each team gets to play 2 quarters against each of the other 3 teams. Both Tiger teams were 2-1 on that day. On Thursday, representatives of Tri-County Electric were here to talk to the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade classes about electrical safety. The presentation included the history of electrical power, plus demonstrations of why we must always be careful around electric lines. The Brashear boys faced Kirksville JV in the first round of the Novinger tournament Monday. Brashear took a quick 7-0 lead, but Kirksville fought back to tie the game at 7-7, and it was game on. Although Brashear led 19-16 after the first quarter, Kirksville had a 34-31 lead at halftime. Kirksville proved to be too much in the second half, and a 22-point fourth quarter gave Kirksville the 63-47 win. Garrett Hausman had 17 points, Brennan Jacobson had 16, Quinn Allen scored 5, Lance Stutzman scored 4, Austin Peterson scored 3, and Lucas Keller scored 2. The Brashear Lady Tigers' opponent in the first round of the Novinger tournament was Kirksville's JV. Brashear took an early 17-11 lead and were up 28-17 at halftime. A 19-point third quarter put the game away for Brashear as they went on to win 52-30. Alexa Higgins scored 19 points, Hannah Grissom scored 11, Emily Mason scored 8, Avery Acton scored 8, Kelly Althide scored 2, Abby Hartwig scored 2, and Tana Garlock scored 2. Brashear faced Green City in the second round of the Novinger tournament Wednesday. Green City got off to a fast start and led 20-11 after one quarter. Brashear started to claw their way back and closed the gap to 31-27 by halftime. The Tigers had the hot hand in the third and led by as much as 11 points, but Green City fought back and got the win 64-29. Brandon Johnson scored 24 points, Garrett Houseman scored 18 points, Austin Peterson scored 7, Quinn Allen scored 4, Leonard Fisher scored 2, and Lucas Keller scored 1. Last Friday, Brashear High School conducted a surprise fire drill. Everything went according to plan with students safely exiting the building. This was part of a series of emergency drills held throughout the school year.
On Thursday, the BHS Music Department held their annual Christmas concert. Student groups from each of the elementary classes performed vocal numbers. In addition, a variety of solo and small group numbers were performed. The B Band and the Varsity Band rounded out the evening, and a cookie reception was held after the performance.
The Brashear Lady Tigers and the Novinger Lady Cats played a hard-fought game Thursday in the championship semifinal game. Novinger held a slim 7-6 lead after one quarter, but Brashear was up 18-16 at halftime. Novinger once again led 30-28 after three quarters, but Brashear came out on top with a 42-41 win to advance to the tournament championship game. Avery Acton scored 9 points, Alexa Higgins scored 8, Henry White scored 8, Tiana Garlock scored 6, Emilie Mason scored 6, Hannah Grissom had 3 points, Abby Hartwig had 2. Last Saturday's Novinger Tournament Championship game saw the Brashear girls facing top-seeded Green City. Although Green City took the early 12-9 lead after one quarter, Brashear hung in there, only trailing 28-19. The Lady Tigers continued to battle, keeping the game close as they trailed Green City 35-33 after three quarters. Green City finally put the game away in the fourth, winning by a score of 60-47. Brashear took second in the tournament. Alexa Higgins scored 18 points, Hannah Grissom scored 17, Emily Mason had 5, Hannah Garlock had 5, and Avery Acton had 2. Brashear hosted Higbee for a varsity basketball doubleheader. The Lady Tigers got off to a quick start, taking a 15-2 lead after one quarter, and a 22-10 lead at halftime. Brashear continued to lead during the second half as they rolled to a 50-36 victory. Avery Acton scored 18 points, Emily Mason scored 11, Alexa Higgins scored 10, Abby Hartwig scored 5, Hannah Garlock had 4, and Callie Alfide had 2. The Brashear boys hosted Higbee Monday night. Brashear got off to a quick 11-2 start, but Higbee had taken a 27-26 lead by halftime. The second half was hotly contested and featured many lead changes. With the score tied at 55-55, Quinn Allen drained a three-pointer at the buzzer to give Brashear a 58-55 win. Brandon Jochimson scored 24 points, Garrett Houseman scored 14 points, Quinn Allen scored 10, Austin Peterson had 4, and Stutzman had 4, Lucas Keller scored 2. The Lady Tigers were at Linn County Tuesday. The game was close in the early going, but Linn County had taken a 27-20 lead by halftime. Brashear closed the gap to 32-31 after 3 quarters, but a big fourth quarter gave Lynn County the 59-50 win. Emily Mason scored 14 points, Avery Acton had 13, Kinley White scored 9, Alexa Higgins scored 8, Hannah Garlock had 4, and Callie Alpine had 2. The Brashear boys were overwhelmed by Lynn County in the early going Tuesday night, as Lynn County quickly built up a 44-22 lead by the end of the first half. Brashear went to work in the second half, chipping away at Lynn County's lead. They managed to get within 10 points before failing by a score of 76-62. Garrett Hausman scored 33 points, Brandon Jochimson scored 19, Austin Peterson had 5, Quinn Allen had 3, and Jason had 2.
Although school was supposed to be in session Monday as a makeup day, Mother Nature brought the snow and canceled classes. Our makeup day will now be January 27th. Congratulations to Paige Stutzman, who was recently named Optimist Club Student of the Month. The Shop Club members were hard at work Friday morning preparing gifts to take to area nursing home residents. This is an annual service project of the Shop Club. The Lady Tigers were at Meadville Friday. Meadville got off to a quick start and built a 33-19 lead by halftime. Brashear went to work after halftime and closed the gap to 44-39 by the end of the third quarter. The Lady Tigers eventually tied the game and took a small lead before seeing it slip away in the final minute as they fell by a score of 57-55. Hannah Grissom had 18 points, Alexa Higgins had 18 points, Avery Acton had 8 points, Tana Garlock had 4, Kinley White has 4, and Callie Altide had 3 points. The Tigers faced a tough opponent on the road Friday at Meadville. Brashear fell behind 20-10 after one quarter and were down 40-18 by halftime. Meadville continued to roll in the second half and defeated the Tigers 65-33. Garrett Hausman had 12 points, Brandon Jochimson had 10, Quinn Allen 5, Austin Peterson 4, and Lucas Keller scored 2 points. The crowd at Tuesday night's game with La Plata had a special treat as the La Plata and Brashear pep bands combined to entertain the crowd between games. Although the Brashear Lady Tigers jumped out to a 17-11 lead over La Plata Tuesday, they were unable to overcome a 26-point La Plata second quarter. Brashear battled back in the second half, but La Plata held on for a 59-52 win. Alexa Higgins scored 19 points, Kinley White had 16, Callie Alteid had 6, Hannah Grissom had 5, Tana Garlock had 3, and Abby Hartwig scored 3 points. The Tigers were unable to overcome La Plata's 22-point first quarter Tuesday as La Plata built a 33-22 lead at halftime. Although Brashear was able to keep pace in the second half, La Plata was able to cruise to a 64-47 win. Garrett Hausman scored 27 points for Brashear, Brandon Jochimson had 16, Austin Peterson had 3, and Quinn Allen had 1 point. The Brashear girls visited Atlanta Thursday night. Atlanta took a quick lead in the first half, scoring the first 17 points and running up a 39-9 lead by halftime. Brashear's 9 points were all free throws. Brashear perked up in the second half and by game's end had closed the gap to 62-42 for a tough road loss. Hannah Grissom had 11 points, Alexa Higgins had 10, Tana Garlock scored 8 points, Abby Hartwig had 8, and Kinley White scored 5 points. The Brashear boys battled a tough Atlanta team closely through the first half Thursday to trail 29-26 at halftime. Atlanta's offense heated up in the third quarter and eventually pulled away from the Tigers for a 68-54 win. Garrett Hausman scored 23 points for Brashear, Brandon Jochimson had 20, Jay Snelling had 6, and Austin Peterson had 6. The Lady Tigers took on Bramer Saturday morning at the NCMC Holiday Hoops Tournament. Bramer took an early lead of 12-6 after one quarter and were up 27-12 at halftime. Brashear fought back and closed the gap to 34-29 after 3 quarters, but the rally fell short as Brashear took the loss 46-35. Alexa Higgins scored 12 points for Brashear, Kinley White also had 12, Hannah Grissom had 9, Callie Alteid had 2, and Tana Garlock scored 1 point. The Tigers also faced Bramer in Saturday morning's Holiday Hoops game. The two teams battled to a 10-10 tie after one quarter, and Brashear was up 26-22 at the half. The Tigers made some adjustments at halftime and ran away with the game in the second half, winning by a final margin of 60-38. Brandon Jochimson scored 30 points for Brashear, Garrett Hausman had 13, Austin Peterson had 4, Cody Mallett had 4, Landon Fisher had 3, Lane Stutzman had 2, Avery Zentz had 2, and Sebastian Melendez also scored 2 points.